Evening, folks. Hope you're all doing well. Hope everyone's doing good. Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Lovely old job. I like doing these every week. I've actually started looking forward to these. I've never really been much of a streamer. You know what I mean? Never been much of a guy who streams, who's like, you know, addicted to it. But I have started looking forward to our Sunday chats. It's good. Good stuff. Rolando, I know that, mate. Yeah, I'm going to be covering them. I'm going to be covering them on Tuesday. I'll be covering the situation with what's his name being sued by Games Workshop. It's not as clear cut as people think. It isn't. You know, I think he was on Side Scrollers the other day, and I like Side Scrollers. I think they're a pretty cool channel. But a lot of the stuff he was saying was true, but they left out a lot of stuff too. You know what I mean? Eman G is his name. They left out a lot of stuff on why he's being sued by Games Workshop. Long story short, I believe Games Workshop have every right to sue this guy, but I don't think they should have the right to bankrupt him and ruin his life. That's where I'd stand on it, you know? Thank you, Sour Balls. Gifting people memberships. For a nice guy. Congrats, Ed. Congrats. This Noel, mate. Oh, by the way, your tea is on. I sent that on Thursday, Noel. I haven't emailed you yet, but it's on its way to you over there in Germany. This guy always wins. Like Noel always gets free shit. He always gets free shit on my streams. It's amazing. I don't stream on Twitch, Ben. No. I just don't. I don't like the company. I know that's rich because I'm on YouTube. I've always been on YouTube. I'm just not big on. I'm not big on Twitch at all. In all honesty, mate. Yeah, it's fine for what it is, and if people want to stream over there, that's fine. It's just never been something I wanted to do. I used to stream on there back in the day with my other channel, but the competition on Twitch, by the way, is so fierce. It's so fierce to the point of just don't bother, you know? Even a channel like mine that already has people, I was getting like, if I stream on there, I get about 2 people watching, you know? Whereas on here, I get about 20, 30, I get to speak to people, you know? I'm not just sitting there on my own. I know I can multi-stream too, but it's a faff. It's a faff. Everybody has YouTube, it's fine. Good lad, Curtis. Yeah, keep doing that. Well, you inspired me to rewrite some lore for the Void Talons, which we're actually going to cover today together. So we're going to write some Void Talons lore together. That is the part of the stream today, which is going to be cool. For those of you wanting to know the itinerary for today, we will be doing, of course, a hello to you all. Then we'll be doing our live stream. Our first batch of people actually have their tea now, which is good. And we have one person who has a lovely signed Redemptor tank that has turned up now. So the second group of people, which Noel is a part of, should be receiving their free tea either today or tomorrow or maybe early next week. Which would be cool, but we'll do some more later on today. Well, in a bit. Sourball says, any additions you recommend for new players to get into? I started playing 10th about 6 months ago and starting to see the problems Vets are talking about. I'd probably say 8th or 7th. The 7th has a lot of formations, which are pretty mental. 8th would be good, because it's very, very, very simple. 8th has no stratagems, it just is what it is, you know? Absolutely. I'd go with 8th if it was me. But you're going to struggle to find players no matter what you do. I would just say, just play OPR, man. Play one-page rules. That has a growing fan base in the Grimdark sector of things. Play one-page rules. Use your models and play that. You'll have a lot more fun. Crow says, side scrollers can be a bit hit or miss. I did feel that there was a lot of stuff missing. It's easy to jump on the GW bandwagon, but might be more to it on the moral side. I agree with you. Yeah, I that's what the video is going to be about on Tuesday. It's literally, look, you know, this guy copied Games Workshop's IP. I don't know what people expect. And Games Workshop, cheers, Ben. Thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you, man. I don't know what people expect, because Games Workshop sent this guy cease and desist letter after cease and desist letter, and he went on ignoring them. So they have every right to protect their IP. They have every right to sue this guy, and they're suing him for the amount of $30,000. Now, this guy makes about $7 to $8 grand a month from Patreon, and he's been doing this for a couple of years now. So, you know, 30 grand is a reasonable amount. The problem is he's paying legal fees too, which have kind of bankrupted him. So, you know, if he's gone to Games Workshop and said, look, I won't do that anymore. I promise I won't do that anymore. I will not do that anymore. And they're still suing him. You know, they won't back off. So that's where we're crossing the line with Games Workshop. I totally support their right to defend their intellectual property completely, because you can't just have a free-for-all, right? And they warned the guy time and time and time again, and he just got on with his life, sort of a thing, and ignored them, and told them that it was free use and all that nonsense when it isn't. But the point's been made now. Games Workshop have made their point, so they need to back off and not ruin this guy's life. They've made the point, right? And the process is the punishment in this. That's what's going on with him. The process is the punishment. That 30 grand, he could have afforded 30 grand, and they knew that as well. If he got away with 30 grand, that would have been a slap on the wrist and he'd been fine. You know? They want to do the process, though. They want him to lose a lot of money. They want to bankrupt this guy as a warning to everybody else, and I think that's really, really, really shitty. Anyway, I'll cover it on Tuesday, because we're doing a whole hobby rant on it, but don't be expecting me to remount Games Workshop for the entire thing. Because I won't. Because Games Workshop are well within their rights to sue him. Because they literally warned him several times, and they have the receipts. They warned him and warned him and warned him. And he wouldn't listen. And he carried on making money from their IP without their say-so. So, you know, you fuck up, you find out. That's it. You fuck up, you find out. And, all of you know me, I am not a Games Workshop shill. The complete polar opposite. But I will respect the company's right to have their own IP and to protect it. And that's what they've done. So, should they put him in a box, in a cardboard box on the street? No. No, of course not. That's silly. But they should have made a point, and they did make a point. But they should have backed off way before now, you know. They should have scared the bejesus out of him with an official court summons. And then, you know, giving him a slap on the wrist. Said, don't do that again, or we will take you for everything. And then it's up to him, isn't it? It's up to him. What are Games Workshop going to do with 30 grand? Do you know what I'm saying? Who cares? They probably spend more than that on the legal fees. God knows E-Man G has. So, yeah. That's for that anyway. Yeah, they were using him as an example, Jim Jitsu. Yeah, they're using this guy as an example. I agree. So, for those of you who don't know, this guy essentially, he was or is a person who sells models from a 3D printing service that he runs, right? And instead of doing what other people do, I may be partnering with a company from Poland who are doing something similar, where they make their own models and they make their own designs, and some of them are inspired by Warhammer, and you know, and Games Workshop are fine with that. Yeah, if you want to be inspired by us, no problem. Great, go for it, right? What this guy did is that he ripped models directly from Total War Warhammer into an STL file, and then put that in his 3D printer and started printing those and selling those. And he wasn't selling them; he was giving them away for free, right? But then he would say to you, but you can go on my Patreon and back me on there if you want. And of course, most hobbyists will pay for a good service. As we all know, right? Some of us have more money than sense. And so this guy was making $6 to $8 grand a month on his Patreon, and we all know what that was for. It was for the fact that he was giving away these models and people wanted to kick something down the line for him, right? And that's what Games Workshop have said. They've said, you are not giving away these models for free. That's a lie, right? And even if you were, that's irrelevant. You're using our IP to create new things that we don't want you to create, and we've told you not to. And you're making money, and you're trying to pull the wool over our eyes by saying you're not making money because you're on Patreon. No, that's nonsense. The only reason people are on your Patreon is because you are 3D printing our models using our IP. And they're right. And they'll win. Like, they're right and they'll win. So, you know, the guy was not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm going to say that now. Like I am deathly afraid of doing anything on here that can get me legally into trouble with somebody like Games Workshop, you know. But look at what I say about them. They're terrible, but they don't go after the people like me. They don't go, you know, and even Arch, they didn't take Arch to court. They got in touch with him and said, don't use our name anymore. You know, please don't use our name anymore. And he was smart enough to say, you know what, fuck it, fine. You know, I won't. But, you know, they were always going to catch somebody with more bravery than brains eventually, and they've done that with this guy. Like, he's got more bravery than brains. He took them on, said, no, it's free use, I'll do what I want, you can go fuck yourselves. You're not going to sue me, I'm one guy. And they said, ha, really? Watch us. Watch us. And they did. And now he is in up shit's creek without a paddle financially. And I don't wish that on anybody. I really don't. And I think Games Workshop should have backed off long ago. They've made their point. But they are well within their rights to pursue legal action against him. Well within their rights. Exactly, Matty. Yeah, it's copyright infringement. Whether you give them away for free or not, it's copyright infringement. I mean, and they do say you can write scratch codexes if you want. You can write your own rules if you want for their games, as long as you don't make profit on it and you tell people, listen, this is a work of fiction, it has nothing to do with Games Workshop, they don't endorse this, and it's given away for free. Do you know what I mean? We give it away for free. If you do that, they're fine with it. No problem. No problem. But if it's a physical product, like a model that they sell, that's when they have an issue. That's when they'll have an issue. You know, I know for a fact they don't care if you write your own rules. If you write your own codex for your own army, they don't care. They don't care. As long as you don't sell it, if you give it away for free, they don't care. You know, you're never going to get a court summons or a cease and desist. You know, because all you're doing at the end of the day is you're bringing more people in to play their game. So they don't give a shit, you know. Whereas if you are giving away models, that's their bread and butter. That's the bread and butter right there. And that's when they're struggling. They'll say, no, fuck you, give us money. Maybe, Matty, I don't know the ins and outs of it, mate. I'm not even going to, on Tuesday, I'm not even going to go into the nitty gritty because I'm not a lawyer. I'll give my opinion on what's going on, basically. You know. Yeah. Yeah, if you copy... If you're silly enough to go into a Games Workshop accredited game like Total War Warhammer and you take their sculpts from that and you make your own models, if you do that with your friends, dude, all power to you, that's great. But as soon as you go public and you start selling them, and he was selling them, alright? He may have given them away for free, but he heavily suggests that you know, go to him on Patreon. And by the way, if he's got thousands of orders for these free models, and a few of them are linked to Patreon accounts with big money, which of the orders do you think he's gonna give out first? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They can't prove that, of course, but I'm telling you now. He was making money, and he knew what he was doing. He had a business. He knew what he was doing. You know, and I think we all have to be big boys and girls. And when Games Workshop are in the right, we have to say, do you know what? Fine. I get that. That's fine. I get why Games Workshop are annoyed at that, and I get why they're suing him. Should they stop before they put him on the street? Of course they should. This is a multi hundreds of millions of pounds worth of company going after a guy who can't afford to pay 30 grand's worth of legal bills. Right, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Make your point and move on. And they should have just done that. They should have made their point and move on. But Games Workshop, being Games Workshop, they just can't help themselves. They've got to turn the screw on this guy. They've got to throw him on the street. You know, they've got to take his life away, essentially. This kind of thing could leave somebody to doing something silly. If you're under this kind of pressure, if you're getting sued by Games Workshop and you're under this kind of pressure, this could drive you to do something very silly. Right? They should have backed off way before this point. They should have won the case, made their point, and moved on. But what Matty's saying there is, if this guy, I swear to God, if this guy's done a stupid again and is holding out for a win or a settlement or to not pay damages, he's a fucking moron because he hasn't got a leg to stand on. You know, the way he on side scrollers, the way he put it across was that he's told Games Workshop he won't do it anymore. He's told Games Workshop he will take down the store. He's told Games Workshop that, you know, he never mentioned finances. He just told Games Workshop that no problem, I will stop what I'm doing. No problem at all, right? And they're still coming after me, he said. I've said, look, I admit I'm wrong. I won't do this ever again. I'm really sorry. You know, whatever. But why would Games Workshop continue to sue this guy if that's the case? Do you know what I mean? If that's all... Do you know what I'm saying? He might just be saying that to try and not pay his damages. If that's the case, then he's stupid. Because he's paying out for lawyers anyway. You're paying through the nose for lawyers anyway. You may as well pay these people up and get those lawyers off your payroll as quickly as possible. And then take it as a learning experience and move on. Right? You'll always be, by the way, that guy who got victimized by Games Workshop. Your Patreon will still have thousands of people on it, and you can make your, you know, your living on there. No problem. Absolutely no problem at all. What you don't do is go to a court case like this, pay your legal fees for months because you don't want to pay the 30 grand that they're asking for. You know, a blind apology is not legal. That doesn't matter. In the court of law, they don't care. They do not care. They want the money because then it says Games Workshop have won this case against this guy. So anybody else who does shit like this, they can hold that up and go, look, there's precedent. All that matters in law, right, is precedent. If there's a precedent for it. Is there a precedent for this ruling? If there is, then they look at it and say, okay, we'll do that again. So if Games Workshop can hold this up and say, listen, this guy was 3D printing our models. What an arsehole. We won this case, we got 30 grand from him, and that's it. That's a case of public record. That means that it's going to be much harder for anybody else to do what this guy was doing to them. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be much harder for anybody else to get STLs of Games Workshop product and to make them and sell them. Which is what they want. Quite rightly so, too. Quite rightly so. You know, so the only reason I can say that this is going on, that they're still suing him, is that he hasn't paid the 30 grand or doesn't want to pay the 30 grand. That's the only reason I can... Because why would a multi-million pound company sue a guy and then continue to sue him even after he said he doesn't want to... He won't do it again. Right? They want that on public record. They want to win this case on public record. So they can say to other people, don't 3D print our models. Don't do it. That's what they want. Sounds like he was playing with fire. He was playing with fire. Definitely. He must have known the phone call was coming. You know, you can't get... I've never had a cease and desist from Games Workshop, but I've seen them. They're serious shit. And he said, oh, look, he said it looked like it came out of it was like a copy and paste job. No, they don't. No, they don't. They are all, I've seen them, man. They're serious shit. You know? Wendell says, honestly, don't feel too terrible for the dude. They're looking down the road and thinking they need to put his head on a spike, so no one else even thinks of stealing from them. I agree. I agree. But I do agree, though, that if this guy had capitulated, if he had said, yeah, I admit all wrongdoing, I'll pay the 30 grand straight away, he would have saved a fuckload of legal fees. He wouldn't be bankrupt, and he'd be the guy who took on Games Workshop, so he'll still have loads of people on his Patreon wanting to back him and pay for other models that he does rather than the Warhammer ones. Right? He could have come out ahead. Minus 30 grand, of course, but if you're making 8-9 grand a month in Patreon anyway, and you've been doing so for the last couple of years, if you haven't got at least 50-60 grand in the bank, you're a fucking moron, right? Yeah, trying to make an example out of him, I agree. Yeah, moral of the story is, don't ignore a cease and desist letter when you don't have a defense. That is basically it. That's basically it. If you're ripping off a huge company's models, like Games Workshop, or whatever you're doing, if you get a cease and desist letter from a big company, and you don't have money to fight a case, or even worse, you haven't got a fucking case to begin with, read the letter and stop what you're doing. Because, I'm going to be quite honest with you, if you think that a massive company can be arsed going to court to take you on, you're high. They don't want to go to court. They just want you to stop what you're doing. Right? I don't know. Because somebody... Raziel, could you explain the 30k per piece of work for me? Does that mean that they're suing him for 30k per infringement? Because that would be a lot more. Then he can't pay that, you know what I mean? Yeah, Matty says, ultimately, he can simply admit and pay the claim, then the court will decide what costs to award. It's complicated. It is. It is. Yeah, I found it really, really funny that the guys who wrote the court proceedings literally were really confused about what Warhammer even is. And so they were like, you know, oh, right, yeah, this Total Warhammer thing. It's like, no, that's not what it's called. It's like, you know, your granddad was writing it or something. Oh, right, so they could... So that's a lot more. Okay, so I need to take that back then, right? Because... if this guy is getting sued for 30 grand per infringement, and there was, what, 12 infringements on there? Like 12 big ones they were suing him for? You know? That's like 350 grand. Like, yeah, that's when we get to the point where, yeah, they're literally beggaring this guy and making a big example out of him. Then you've got to fight it, because you can't pay that. You know what I mean? Then you've got to fight it. You go into debt, you've got to fight it, unfortunately. What's his Patreon at now? Does anyone know? There's 14 counts, okay. Does anybody know what his Patreon's at now? Has he got it public? You're joking. What? So like, what? So the day before he got sued, he took the store down and gave away everything for free. So was he selling it before this? Was he selling his models before this? Because that's really shitty, if he did. I can't see how a normal functioning human being can sell products that are ripped off of Games Workshop and think they're going to get away with it. That can't be true. He had to give them away for free and then took money on Patreon, right? Because that's the only loophole I can see. I think if you go on ccb.gov and just type in E-Man-G versus Games Workshop, you should get it. It should come up. I don't want to put it in chat for obvious reasons. I've got it here in front of me. Well, I agree with that, Owen. I agree with that point you made there. Okay? The best way to combat this is to make your own game. Is to start making money by releasing good content and good products. One-page rules do it. A bunch of other games do it. BattleTech do it, right? They make money. They don't make Games Workshop money, but they certainly make more than what this guy's making. What's he making, like 10 grand a month? They'll be making more than that. Make your thing and sell it. And we'll get into that a bit later, because I'll be doing a world building thing later. And, it is, yeah, Rotwang, yeah, it is. It's a precedent. You need, if something like this comes up where, so Games Workshop have tried this a few times, right? So they tried this a few years ago with the Space Marine thing, where they wanted to essentially trademark Space Marine, and they sued a few people, and they got countersued, and they lost. And that was a big kick in the teeth, because if they'd have done that, then there would have been a precedent for Games Workshop defending the IP in Space Marine, so they could go after anybody. That's a really tight grip on their trademark there. Okay. I know we all dunk on Games Workshop for high prices, etc., but they developed the product, they hired the designers, sculptors, etc. They have to pay the rent on their premises. It's their IP. Yeah, that's true. They also need to pay upkeep on protecting their IP too. Because their legal teams, that's what they do. They literally protect their IP. If you don't defend your intellectual property, it's fair game. Right? It's one of those weird... the old Chapter House lawsuit. Yeah, Daniel, yeah. It's one of those weird legal mumbo-jumbo things, where if you don't actively hunt people down and say, you can't use that, it's mine, anyone can use it. You lose the right to protect your IP, do you know what I mean? Which is why they're so overzealous and wanting people to not use any of their copyrighted stuff. I think it's a miracle that they even let us do scratch codexes and rules. I think that's a miracle. Honestly, I think that's a miracle that they let us do that. Don't get me wrong, I would do more than that if I were them, but I think it's a miracle that this version of Games Workshop, they don't mind if you do scratch codexes as long as you're not selling them. Ken can't find his Patreon, okay. Maybe he took it down. Yeah, exactly. Cromlech. Oh, there are other people who do it. There are other people who do it that have really good stuff. The problem you have is when Games Workshop drops the legal hammer on everything, whether they have a case or not, knowing full well their opponents can't afford to defend themselves. That's true. That is true. And again, in this evil corporate world we live in, I'm sort of surprised by Games Workshop's restraint, because it would be so easy for them to absolutely hammer everybody, to go after everybody and say, no, you owe us this, you owe us that, and pay the legal fees, you know, to drive everybody away from touching their product. But there's a very good reason why cosplayers, animators, writers, artists, they all tend to stay away now from 40k. I know, because I've gone on Fiverr and similar places to try and get some Void Talons artwork done in 40k style, and nobody will do it. Nobody wants to do it, because they don't want to risk being caught up in a lawsuit like this. It's a toxic brand. Nobody wants to touch it. Nobody wants to touch Warhammer or Warhammer 40,000. Especially 40k, and especially if there's a Space Marine on it. Right? Nobody wants to touch it. Yeah, I get both sides, honestly, but hammering text-to-speech was BS, but protecting your IP is not unreasonable. No, it's not. And again, I will call them out if they go too far. And when they did go too far, when they went after text-to-speech. It's free advertisement. You know? Literally, it is free real estate. Text-to-speech device. It really is. And, yeah. Text-to-speech device, that cease and desist, I honestly think that was more ego than anything else. And that's why it enraged me so hard. Like, I honestly think it was ego. They could not take the fact that somebody else was making something so popular using their IP. You know, they just couldn't hack it. Yeah, that's because the Astartes guy is now buried underneath, you know, 17 different NDAs and is one of a team of animators of about 50 animators, probably. Do you know what I mean? That's why you haven't heard from him. Yeah, he has a GoFundMe. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. In the 2022-23 financial year, they made £170.6 million after all expenses and taxes. Their new 2023-24 financial report is due to come out later this month. Yeah, I'm gonna be willing to bet that that's gone up. Money makes money at the end of the day. I'm willing to bet that their operating profits, that their actual profit, after everything is taken out, will be around 200 million. I'm telling you now, like Games Workshop's overall results when everything's taken away will be about 200 million this year. Just based on how it's been going for them, based on what they've been doing, you know. Yes. So Jimbjitsu, the channel was going great guns. They were releasing content slower and slower because it got more and more complicated. But yeah, the text-to-speech device show stopped when they got a cease and desist. So yeah, that's true. Well, here's another thing though. Do you reckon? So that's a good point that Luca brought up there, right? So when I think of Rogel Dawn, I think of, you know, it is I, Rogel Dawn. I think of him, right? That's who Rogel Dawn is to me. Maybe those people at Games Workshop who were saying, "Oh no, this is becoming a thing, and this is now infecting our lore." People actually think like this is how Rogel Dawn is. Do you know what I mean? The amount of people when I've seen them playing Iron Warriors, oh, hush my mouth. The amount of people that I've seen playing Imperial Fists, and they just say things like, you know, "It was me in pretend." You know, that kind of thing in his voice is like, it's just everywhere, even now. So maybe they were heading it off at the pass and saying, "Listen, we don't want this." You know what I mean? Wendell says, "Your video with Outer Circle convinced me the higher-ups are stuffing their pockets over the next decade before they transition to STLs, and only then will prices come back down to same levels." I think that's it. I think that's where we're going. I think in about 10, 15 years, Games Workshop will be selling STL files. And they may even sell their own branded 3D printers that are way overpriced. They'll sell their own 3D printers that are way overpriced and are really compatible with their own STL files. That's what they'll do. Because it can't go on the way. It's a law of diminishing returns, right? Then again, do we really trust them to look that far into the future? Because I don't. And I can't even blame them. Like, if they made 170 million last year, right? After everything's been taken into account. And this year, Games Workshop will probably make 190 to 200 million. Let's be honest. We don't want it to be the case, but that's where we are, right? Because people are stupid and they keep buying stuff from them. So, if that's happening for you, why would you look to the future and do anything but what you're already doing? They must sit there thinking, well, the last price hike resulted in more people buying models. The one before that resulted in the same thing. The one before that resulted in the same thing. So our business plan for 2025 is raise the prices again. Because it doesn't matter how many people like me and like Macca and other people shout into the void and say, these prices are fucking stupid. If people keep buying them, and the profits keep going up, the shareholders keep clapping, who cares? Who cares? You know? I mean, why would you? If I was an investor of Games Workshop, I don't have any stock anymore, but I used to. So they used to... A while ago, we had stock as part of our bonus. So you get like a bonus, retail bonus at Christmas, and then you could get another stock bonus, things like that. So you had stock in the company. I got rid of mine a couple of years ago now, because I needed the money. But yeah, like if I was a shareholder, I'd be like... Yeah, I'll... This is great. Keep putting the prices up. More money for me, please, you know. But hey. Dude, Noel, you should work for them. You should literally work for them. They should call their 3D printing models standard template constructors. Can you imagine if Games Workshop came out with their own branded 3D printer with the Imperial Aquila on it, and it was an STC, standard template construct, and it built your models for you? Can you imagine? That's what they're going to do. They're going to sell their own STL files, and they're going to sell their own machines. That's what they're going to do. Next 10, 15 years. If they've got brains, that's what they'll do. That's true, Havron, yeah. Well, one or two things is going to happen to Games Workshop in the next 10 to 15 years, okay? They're either going to adapt and move into 3D printing themselves. They're still going to sell physical products, but they'll move into 3D printing, selling their own 3D printers and their own STL files and things like that. And the hobby will fucking explode in popularity and make them a lot of money, right? A lot of money. I'm talking Disney money. They're going to be up there. They're going to be, you know... Either that's going to happen, and if that happens, be ready to see your grim, dark future taken away from you, because they're not going to... It's going to be more family-oriented. It's going to be more, you know, they're going to neuter it. Or they're going to do a Kodak or a Blockbuster, and they're not going to see the... They're going to see the money right now, but they don't see the waterfall that they're approaching. And in 5 years, when 3D printing, affordable 3D printing, overtakes the quality that they can produce, their stock price fucking tanks. And the company closes. Or has massive layoffs and a huge pullback in what they do. And then they'll scramble and try to adapt, but it'll be too late. Because there'll already be... The companies that are starting now to do 3D printing with their own model lines that aren't Games Workshop affiliated, they will already be big enough to take market share by that point. So in 10, 15 years' time, those companies, Ravage Star, all those guys, they'll be big enough to start pulling market share away. Saying, no, this is our pie. We're the 3D printers, this is our pie. You don't get any. You know? That's the way it's going to go. Either way, I don't see it being a bright future for us hobbyists, especially if you like the grim dark future of Warhammer 40,000. Either they're going to become so big through 3D printing and adapting in 10 to 15 years' time and lowering the prices that they become almost a literal Disney juggernaut of tabletop wargaming, to the point that they buy out somebody like Wizards of the Coast. That big. I'm talking that big, right? Either that happens, and they print money forever, or they don't adapt, they do a Kodak, they do a Blockbuster, and they can't see the waterfall approaching, and they go off of it. Massive layoffs, massive cutback in their operations, and then they'll scramble to join the 3D printing market very quickly, and they'll struggle to even do that, because there'll be so many other people there who already have the market share. You know? Now, I'm going to be cynical here. I'm going to tell you what North would do if he wanted to make a lot of money and run Games Workshop. I would run you people into the ground. I would have you pay through the nose. I would up prices year on year through your models, right? With those profits, I would start buying up entire 3D printing companies. The guys who make the 3D printers, they work for me now. The guys who make really good models doing 3D printing, they work for me now. They're all in-house. They're all in-house at Games Workshop. Right? Preparing for the big launch in 10 years. Bang! 3D printing? Yeah, I own that. I'm Games Workshop, I own that now. I am 3D printing. And that's how I would do it. I would switch Games Workshop into a 3D printing model, and I'd make you pay for it as the customer. I'd make you pay for it. You guys, I'd up the price of a 3D of a third, like a 10-man intercessor squad would be £40 in North's Games Workshop. £40. You'll still pay for it. You'll still pay for it. It's £40. With the insane profits I generate from that, I start buying up every single talented 3D printer company out there. Even the people who make the 3D printers, those companies, I'd buy them out. I'd absorb them. You work for me now. You're Games Workshop now. So by the time the revolution starts, the revolution is happening when I fucking say it happens. Because I'm Games Workshop and I own all the 3D printing. Right? And that's what I would do. And then you print money until the sun dies. That's what you do. You know. No, but you know what I mean by that, Havran. You know what I mean by the behemoth, because they are one of the biggest companies in the world. So, no matter whether they go up or down, they're still one of the biggest companies in the world. Like Disney are a company that are like Arasaka. Do you know what I mean? They're so big, they're basically an entire country on their own, and it's very difficult for them to fail. Yeah. That's what it'll be, Noel. It'll be Games Workshop models can only be printed on Games Workshop's own printers. Yeah. Blitz, no. I'm saying, like, if I was thinking like Games Workshop, and you said, North, you now run Games Workshop, that would be my plan for the next 10 years. My plan for the next 10 years would be raise the prices and fill our pockets on the way out the door. Buy every single 3D printing company of any talent in the world as competition. Buy them all out, absorb them and their talent. And then when the 3D printing revolution happens, it happens when I say it happens. You know? It's just genius. I wouldn't put it past them doing that now. You know, I would love to have an ear to the ground. And just to know what's going on in there. That'd be amazing. One thing I know they would love to do, if they got that kind of market share, I know a load of them would love to go over to Wizards of the Coast and just buy them out. They would look at that as victory. They'd be like, right, yeah, you thought you were better than those, right? Well, D&D is now our thing. D&D now has Games Workshop on the front of it. Alright? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I don't even know whether they'd be allowed to do that because of anti-monopoly laws, but maybe if they... I don't know. Yeah, diabolical. Anyway, shall we do a prize draw before I forget? Now that we've discussed legal matters. You'll see your names on the right-hand side. Whee! There we go. This is for a box of Yorkshire tea. We'll do 5 of these. And what you need to do if you do win is email me at hobbynightmares@gmail.com. That is hobbynightmares@gmail.com with your name, your address, and any message that you might like me to write down, whether it's for your other half or for you or whatever. Let me know. But it's hobbynightmares@gmail.com. Alright? Cool. Let's spin the wheel and see who wins this week. No, I'm being serious, dude. If you pop up again on this prize draw, I'm just gonna, like, not give you any more tea. Bloodvein. I think you're in the chat, Bloodvein, are you not? I saw somebody of that name before. You have won yourself a box of Yorkshire tea. Well done. King-sized coffin. You have also won some Yorkshire tea. Kitsune, I'm very sorry, man. I know you're in the chat. Very sorry. You were very, very, very close. Slave to the Parasites is close as well. Oh my god. Let's go again. Daniel Volquist, who has won in the past, I think, different prizes that we've had. You have won a box of Yorkshire tea. Sky Travis, you have also won a box of Yorkshire tea. Last one. Jan Ziska, you have won a box of Yorkshire tea. Make sure that you email me at hobbynightmares@gmail.com and I can get those to you as quickly as humanly possible. We'll have a little chill for a bit, and I'm going to answer some Q&A questions, and then we're going to chill out, and we're going to talk about some lore, some 40k lore, before we go anywhere else. Do you ever upload your streams as videos, North? They're on the... They should already be on the channel, man. If you go on my channel and you click live, you know, if you go on, like, say, you click on my thing here, you go on the Northern Exile channel, it'll say live, the home videos live, go on there, they're all on there. All the VODs are on there. What happened to giving models, North? So... When I gave models, I was in a partnership with Composite Games, and they would supply the models. So either I would buy them or at a good price, or I would get like a freebie to give away to you. Games Workshop has been really screwing the pooch with them pretty hard, and they've had to readjust their business so many times. So I'm letting them recover, letting them do. They're doing quite well now. They're working really, really, really hard over there. So we're going to get that up and running pretty soon. They've got a new website, which will be advertised on the channel pretty soon. I think once that's up and running, then I'll start doing models again. But yeah, I wanted to give them a bit of a break, because I didn't want to be yet another person expecting things of them. Because, you know, it's not great, you know. I wanted to just give them some space. Yeah. Did I miss the model showcase? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I will be doing that in a little bit. What I will do, though, if you guys have my email, which is this, Hobby Nightmare. Whoops. If you have any models you want to put in to today, just use that email, and I'll whack them up in a bit. Okay? Use that email, and you'll get shown today. Unless I get so many, then I don't know what to do with. Yeah. So we've got, what else have we got to do? Got a few things I need to do. Right, I'm going to nip the loo real quick, and then I'll be right back, and then I'll answer some questions. Alright, I'm back. If you send in some models for the model showcase in a few minutes, I'm going to give it about 10-20 minutes for you to do that. But please make sure that you name your pictures. And by that, I mean, like, you know, if your name's John, your pictures should be called John 1, John 2, John 3. They should not be called image and a load of numbers like you normally get. Do you know what I mean? Just rename your image and then send it to me. I don't mean tell me your name at the start of the email. I mean actually name your models. Do you play Scum anymore? No. Not because of any malicious thing. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a good game. I just got other things to play. And yeah, I've not really gone into it for a while. I do miss it kind of. It was a good game. When you're making the game Blackjack and Hookers. Well, we'll get into that in a minute, actually. I've got something to show people in a minute. What brand of Yorkshire tea do you buy? Never tried it. I buy Yorkshire tea, man. It's just called Yorkshire tea. Yeah, it's just called Yorkshire tea. I've got it on Uber Eats here for you. There you go. Ah, it's too big. Never mind. Just search for Yorkshire tea. It'll be on there somewhere. If there were a law bit you could change, what would it be? There's too many, man. There's too many. I'd probably go for the Space Wolves in their entirety. Not because I'm a Space Wolf hater. I think they deserve more respect. They deserve more respect. That's all. I do them properly. Redo them from start to finish. Speaking law, I'm working on the Purple Wings law. Okay. Currently building Alfaria Shrike. Half 30k jumper, half Shrike model. Cool, that's cool. Any schedule for Xenos chapter lore video? I really like the Space Marine thing you did with the viewers before. Yeah, if you do have... I've got one craft world ready to go that somebody sent in, but I don't want to do a video just about one person's lore, because that would like put an unfair spotlight on them. Do you know what I mean? So I'm waiting for more. So if you've got any Xenos stuff you want to send it in. I'd love to read it out. Have you played Horus Heresy? I have. I love it. I think it's one of the best Games Workshop have released in a long, long time. As somebody who liked 7th without the formations, yeah, Horus Heresy is my jam, man. Cheers, Positive Geekery. Thank you very much. Sure, Luca, yeah, send it in. Send it in. Send it in. Yeah, Norden. I mean, if you're facing Grey Knights with Custodes, you should be winning pretty easily, and 2, well, that's it really. I don't think you should be surprised that Grey Knights weren't very good against them, because unfortunately, all Grey Knights are slightly less expensive, really, really worse Custodes, but they're still cooler in every other way. 1,000 points of Iron Warriors is a good place to be. Best Legion, man. Best Legion. I know my guys are word bearers, but Iron Warriors, best Legion. But it's not even close. Not even close. It's literally not. You know, it astounds me how anybody thinks that anybody but the Iron Warriors is the best Legion. Absolutely astounds me. Yeah, well, Grey Knights are very, very, very good if you're a very good tournament player. If you're a very good tournament player, Grey Knights are fucking lethal. Lethal. Especially if you can time your teleportations and your shenanigans properly. Grey Knights are literally the worst army to play against in the game. In the hands of a good player, Grey Knights are the worst thing you can come up against. You know? Yeah, Drago's amazing, yeah. Alright, Ken, cheers, man. See, Ken did the responsible thing. He realised he'd made a mistake, and instead of just letting me wing it, he's gone and done it himself and readjusted things. Been working on a law for a female Marine chapter. Not for any political agenda, just because a friend thought it would be cool, and I liked the challenge of doing it, but keeping them to fit in the setting. You can't. That's the thing, Positive Geekery. You can't. Like, I don't know what else to say to you, man. I don't. There's no hate here. There's no hate here. It's not a challenge, man. A challenge is something that you can actually do, but it's difficult, right? You cannot have female Space Marine chapters. So it's not a challenge. It's literally an impossibility. Unless you're willing to throw out 30 years of lore and just use your own lore, which, you know, it's fine as long as you say that's what you're doing. But if you're looking to inject female Space Marines into 40k lore, it's been told time and time again that it can't happen. Right? There's no way it can be done. So it's not a challenge. It's something that it's impossible to do. And again, I've got nothing against people. Don't get me wrong. I've got nothing against female Space Marines at all. Right? Nothing against them. But the law says they can't happen. And if the law says they can't happen, then I respect that. Okay, they can't happen. Cool. Fine. You know? Yeah. Well, GW can do that because it's their IP. So, you know, this is why I said about the Custodes thing when I said, just listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do. 40k is always going to be yours. You do what you want. Because Games Workshop can tell you that Custodes have always been female. Because it's their IP. They can do what they want with it. Right? You do what you want to do. You take what you like of Warhammer and you celebrate that. Don't let them in. Fuck them. You know? So if you said to me, Positive Geekery, oh, I'm doing an army of all-female Custodes, that's rage baiting. But also, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's in the law now. Fine. No problem. If Games Workshop said, hey, there's female Space Marines, they're a thing, I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, I guess people can do female Space Marines now. You know? But they haven't for good reason. North, will you do a lore doctor video? Basically, people send in their lore and you provide your advice. I think it would be fun. I think we already do that with the Space Marine chapters video, man. But I may do in the future. Oh, look at Noel. He comes in, he gets his prize, and then he fucks off. Look at this. I'm joking, man. Yeah, you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Are female Custodes that different from Marines? Yes, because Marines are... So the reason why female Marines can't happen, the reason that we're given in the law, is because well, Custodes are a bespoke thing. And each one is completely unique. Completely unique. Whereas Marines are mass-produced. And so they need to be on a very stable genome. That's it. You can't, you know what I mean? That's it. So it's a Marine is a very dirty process. It's not very advanced. It's more brute force than anything else compared to a Custodes. Which means the Emperor had to work with what he had. And he had men. You know, he didn't have time to work around the female body, the female lack of hormones, lack of everything that a man has. He didn't have time to work around it. He had to mass produce these guys very quickly. You know? And that's why you can't have female Space Marines. The technology isn't there, and we haven't produced more technology to make them. Which I think is a very good law reason. It's fine. It works. Hmm. Cheers, Ken. Thank you very much. Yeah, she'll be, she's downstairs cooking. I'm made up. I'm made up. Do you know what, though? Do you know how cool my missus is, though? Right. She knows that Sunday is my busy day. It's my busiest day of the week, Sunday. Because I record Monday's Hobby Nightmare. I do a load of marking. I teach twice. Then I do the stream in the evening. So it's a busy day. So, you know, when she found that out, she took it upon herself to make lunch. She made lunch today, and now she's making dinner. That's a good woman. That's what you want. You want one of them lads. That's what you're looking for. You're not looking for big titty people on Twitch or OnlyFans or the unicorn who comes to your hobby club. You're looking for a woman who sees that you're having a hard day and does whatever she can to make it easier. That's what you want. I literally came downstairs yesterday, right, on my own accord, about 10:30 at night, and I literally told her, I said, listen, I don't mean to blow smoke up your arse, but I don't think I've ever been this happy before. In life, in general. I'm not happy right now, that I'm kind of waiting for the piano to drop on my head. You know? Do you know that feeling? Some of you got to know that feeling, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I am. Like I'm in a really good place. Like, you know, my job's going well. I've got YouTube, got you guys. That's adding to the pot, you know, of future savings for the kids and whatever else we're going to be doing. I live in a good area, good house, really good woman, like amazing woman. I see my daughter, you know, often, you know, we're getting a really good relationship going. I'm hoping she can move in the next couple of years, maybe. We'll see. You know, and things are just going well. The only thing that isn't going well is Grandpa. That's the only thing that's not going well. It's Grandpa. But, you know, the man's 89. What do you want from him? You know, like he's old. And life is life, I suppose. Yeah, send them again, Jim, just in case. Just in case, mate. Send them again. You left your girl, Danny. Hey, Dan, that is a big thing to do, man. There is nothing harder than saying to a woman, look, I'd rather not get laid. That's basically what you're saying. When you break up with a woman, you know how important sex is to men. When you break up with a woman, that's basically what you're saying. You're saying, I'd rather go without than be with you. That's a pretty you know, that is a ballsy... You know what you want. If you're a man who's been able to do that, you know what you want and you have more mental fortitude than you think you do. Because I know a lot of men who've never broken up with a woman. They're always the ones being broken up with. You know? That used to be me. So I developed quite a... So what I used to do, I only started like walking away from women I didn't like about 4 or 5 years ago. But like up until I used to like just hang around till they got rid of me, and then there was a middle area where I would just start to ghost them and not be around and annoy them and mistreat them, not physically, or I didn't like, you know, screw anybody up or anything, but I'd let them know I didn't care until they dumped me, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, no problem, all right, bye now, and then I'd leave. I think the last time I did that was like maybe 20. The last time I did that was a couple of years ago. Yeah, and then a few times I've dated after that, I've literally just said no, this isn't working out, and I've left. You know, that's called a wife north, make it happen. I'm trying, man. Like she's so cool. She doesn't even want to do that. She's like, no, we got other things to spend money on. So, you know, we don't need a wedding band to you know. R.I.P. Friend just got dumped. More games of Warhammer at least. His words, not mine. Well, you know, look at it as a bullet dodged. Here's the thing. When you've got older men in your life, guys, for fuck's sake, listen to them. Listen to them. Because every man will tell you, if a woman breaks up with you, you've dodged the fucking bullet. You've dodged a serious bullet. Because, you know, what happens if you've got 4 kids with her, and you're in the hole in terms of a mortgage with her, and then she does this, then she kicks you out. Right? She's this changeable. Do you know what I'm saying? Dodge the bullet, mate. You really did. Any advice to a Yank that has always wanted to explore England? More laid-back places to go. Volunteer opportunities. I wouldn't know about volunteer opportunities, man. In terms of laid-back experiences, there are... Do you know what? Me and the missus just went to Warwick. If you want to know what England looks like, if you want to see England like you see it in the postcards, go to Warwick. Warwick Castle, the town. It's basically just England. That's what it looks like, you know. And I would do a few city breaks if I was you as well. I'd do Liverpool, London, you know, Newcastle. Do the triumvirate: Liverpool, London, Newcastle. Do that. Pretty cool. Hello from the colonies. Hello, man. How's it going? My cats really love your cyberpunk video animation. Now, I lost this animation for like a year, and I couldn't find it anywhere on Google. And then a fan sent me the animation, and it by accident. He just had the animation, and he sent me it on the bottom of an email. Oh, there it is! So now I've got it back again. Yeah, well, I would say Jay. I would say somewhere like Warwick, mate. That Middle England is basically like somewhere like Warwick. It's got medieval history. It's in the middle of the countryside. It's got, you know, quaint English shops dotted around. It's got quaint English pubs all the way around there. It's actually quite cheap. So the place that we went to is cheap. It was called the Crown and Rose. Highly recommend it. The Crown and Rose in Warwick. Very nice place. Very nice place. So I would recommend Warwick. If you want to just see what England is like, that's the place. Gallifrey. Alright, you're sending in your first hobby nightmare. Good. Is your hobby nightmare being a fan of Doctor Who? Sorry. I've never been a fan of Doctor Who. If you have any more models you want to send in, we're going to start looking at them at 6:20 UK time. So in 5 minutes. Liam says, hey North, I'm coming out of GCSEs, hoping for 6th form, and for being... so would you recommend looking around for a job, preferably in the hobby? How would you recommend? I wouldn't. How do you mean, Liam? Do you want to work for Games Workshop? Or do you want to work for a normal hobby store? Let me know. Skip England, come to Scotland. He doesn't want heroin, man. He doesn't want. He doesn't want heroin. It's fine. Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, as Bloodvein says there, I am being facetious. Go to Scotland; it's lovely, but especially the countryside. No, I like Monty Python, but I don't like Doctor Who, and I've never liked Doctor Who. Now, this is the thing. I'll get to you in a minute, Liam. This is the thing. You send pictures to hobbynightmares@gmail.com, Dan. hobbynightmares@gmail.com. I've never liked Doctor Who. I've always thought it was for fucking nerds. And I know that sounds weird, considering I like Warhammer and I am a nerd, right? But, like, it's always been one of those things where I look at it and go, oh, bunch of fucking nerds. I look at him wearing his little scarf. You know, I've just never got into it. I don't know. It's horrible, I know. But it's never been my bag. And it's always been really cheesy and camp and... just, yeah. And David Tennant making stupid faces, overacting as per usual. No, it's... Nah. Not for me. Not for me. Almost had an anxiety attack in the GW the other day. Oh, God. Hope you're alright now. So, normal hobby store, Liam. So, in terms of normal hobby store, what I would do is I would walk around there first, make sure that you're involved in what the store's doing. If they have any events going on, make sure you throw yourself in and you give your time over to organising those events or volunteering your time to help them out. That's what I would do. And be honest with them. Say to the manager, listen, I'm coming into sixth form. I would love a job. Or even, I'd like to volunteer my time. If I can get a job, amazing. I'll take paid work. But I want to prove to you that I can do it. So, and I want to get my feet in on the ground floor in the hobby because I love it so much. I want to help. Please let me help. And they will give you things to do. They will literally give you things to do. Like they want another body helping out. And if you can prove that you can do it for free, then they will... If there are good people there, then they will eventually pay you. Whether it be in models or whatever, they will eventually pay you. You know, you're at a time in your life where you can afford to give up a bit of time. You know? You're a young man going into sixth form. You've got time to spare. So if you want to do that, be honest with them. Walk in and say, listen, I don't have a CV. I don't have anything like that. I love the hobby. I love everything about it. And if you want somebody to help you out in store, please think of me, because... And I'll volunteer my time. Anything that you need. You need somebody setting up the tables. You need someone to learn the rules and to adjudicate games. Whatever you need, man, I'll do it, because I want to get in on the ground floor. I want to work in a place like this when I go to university. So I'd love to volunteer my time, because you guys are a really cool store, and I want to help out. There is no store on God's green earth that will say no. They'll be like, yeah, thank you. Take those boxes up to the office. That's your first job. Second job, make me a cup of tea. Right? Treat it like an apprenticeship, like you're working on the buildings. You make the tea. You mix the cement. That's what you do. And also, go on the Discord and ask. I swear that there are managers in the Discord. Dozens of them. Dozens of hobby store managers on the Discord. You never know. One of them might be around you, or they might know somebody around you who's like, oh yeah, I've got a guy here who would like a body to carry boxes for him, and yeah, you know, like, that's what I would do. Gallifrey, I will never judge you for liking what you like, man. And this is the thing with the channel, right? This is the thing that a lot of people tend to get confused. Is that if I take the piss out of something that you like, it doesn't mean you're not allowed to like it. You know what I mean? But people, honestly, I think that they think that sometimes. That I'm having a go at their existence for liking a thing. You like what you like, man. I'm allowed not to like it, and you're allowed to not like what I like as well. You know? Right, I'm just going to send myself the Hobby Nightmare pictures, because that's what I've got to do these days. But yeah, it's all good. You like what you like, and you stick to your guns, man. You should do. I love how not right the local weather forecast is. Like, it is currently cloudy and raining. Dude, it's 20 degrees and the sun's shining. What are you talking about? Oh my god, there's so many. Okay, well, if I don't get to you guys, then that's because there was so many. Forward that on. See, like, I've done that. I've got that many coming in that as I'm uploading them, I'm getting more coming in. God damn it. I'm gonna have to cut this off in a minute, guys. Not the stream, but like, I can only do so many, or we're gonna be here till about 11 o'clock tonight, and my missus will murder me. I'm picking out names that I've seen in the chat first to put on the list. Any that aren't today will be next week, of course. Okay. Two more to go, and then I'm ready to go. To look at some models. There aren't that many Marines today. I'm really, really, really like impressed by the. If you've sent me loads of pictures, by the way, please don't be offended if I only show the best 2 or 3. Because we could be here all day, as I said, so... Yeah, I got the... Ken, that is a very muscly woman. Oh, dear. Right, here we go. So we're going to be here for a little while, so bear with me whilst we do our... There we go. Here we go. Time to get my models up. There we are. A vast cacophony of model daring do. So whack them on. Right. First of all, we have Raziel, or Raziel. We'll whack this on. Throw that down there. Shoop. Oh, dude, that's cool. More resolution, please. More resolution. Looks awesome. Don't be teasing me with these models that you've got. Oh my god, I think we've just found one of my favourite models that's ever been on the channel. Okay, next one's going to be... We are Dave Crozier. I'm going to be looking at some of your models here. And I'm very, very, very happy to be looking at some of these. These are amazing. We've got a bit of flame coming for our corn dude there. This dude really likes his corn models. I always like how our corn basically just looked like a big gang. Really like the base on this guy. On the salamander. Very nice. And on the Reaver too. Very good stuff. Now I think this is the one that was my favourite. Yeah. Let's take a good look at that. That is cool, man. That is really, really, really cool. Is that a Chapter Master model? If you're in the chat, let me know. Is that a Chapter Master? Because that is the Reinhardt's Revenge, or Bernard's Revenge, or whatever it is, isn't it? So are you using that as your Chapter Master? So I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, Ken's Muscle Lady is next. Apparently this is Krieger, I don't believe him. I think this is some sort of fetish that we're looking at here. Oh, big resolution. Yeah, wait till we get to the lower half, guys. Wait till we get to the lower half. I'm not even gonna show you yet. Not showing you yet. You're gonna wait. You're gonna wait. There we go. Look at this. Ken, you have worked out some issues on this model, haven't you? You've worked out some serious issues here. You've gone, right. I shall create her. Oh, damn it. That's, yeah. Do not go down to Meat Flap Town. That's what I'm saying on that one. Really lovely model, though. Very nice model. Some ink into the recesses of the muscles would be good. Aside from that, gorgeous looking model. Alrighty. Scum is next. Let's have these downloaded, shall we? Hello? Can we download them? There we go. You get bonus points for having the stream on in the background. I will say that. I also find it really hard to do. Since this is what ink does to a model, right? This is what I mean. Okay? That's what I mean. Look at the recesses and everything on that model. They pop, they stand out, right? That's what ink does to a model. It gives you shade, gives you form, gives you shadow, right? Now, Ken isn't done with his model there, but can you imagine how good that Ken's model is going to look when it has a little bit of ink on there? A little bit of tone in the recesses to cover up errant brush strokes and to make things blend together properly. That's going to look superb. What's this? It looks like an orc to me. Sounds like orc mischief to me. No, it's a Skaven. It's a Skaven. With a really well done base. I've never seen Martian Iron Earth used like that before. That's really cool. That's very clever. That's very, very clever. Now we have the stream on in the background. Good for you, good for you. It is an Imperial Knight. And the upper body, I've said Imperial Knight. Very nice. I do like, it is a really cool Inception moment where I get to see what you're working on your hobby desks as you're watching me. It's pretty cool. We'll have to admit. Oh. Oh, mate. Absolutely. Abso-flogging-lutely. Got that in my veins. Look at this guy. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant Iron Warrior. What I want to see is some dirt. That ground he's walking on should be all over his legs. Everywhere down there. Get some Martian Iron Earth, dry brush the base and dry brush the bottom of his legs too. Not Iron Earth, you know what I mean. Riser Rust. Dull down some Riser Rust. Yeah. That's the ticket. It is time for an Angron. It's an angry boy. Oh, these are really zoomed in. There we go. Damn, you've got his expression as well. You've got that down. Look at that. Really nice ink work too. That dude's a beast. Look at that. I love how even his wings have muscles. Alright, next. We have Crow. I like this one. I like this one. So we got a Death Company Blood Angel frothing at the mouth, and this corn champion just like, this is amusing. This guy's really funny. We'll keep him for the children. He can dance for the children. I like that one. Right, we have photo and lore from Luca. I won't read the lore now, my man, because we're already getting on a bit. But I will show the model. Progress you've made. Okay. Progress you've made. Indeed. Indeed. Wow, look at that. He's getting there, isn't he? He is getting there. I like the colour scheme. Very much so. I very much like the colour scheme. Good looking model. We have an Nagash, guys. From Daniel Real. Or Real. Oh, zoomed in. Yep, Nagash head. And that's a Nagash head. Are we going to see the real thing though? All put together. Love this. Look at his little body, look. Oh, really well painted though. Look at that. Look at that. Lovely edge highlighting work. Really well done, man. Lovely edge highlighting work. Well done. Please tell me the third one. Is it all put together? That'd be really awesome if it was. No, it's not. It is another part of his head. Well, not another part of his head. Part of his armor. Still, I love it. Next. Alrighty. We have a first Loyalist Space Marine of the day, apart from the Space Wolves we saw before. Alrighty. From Havron. Thank you very much for doing your model pictures properly and naming them properly. Thank you very much, Havron. Whoa, he's a glossy boy. He's a very glossy boy. I like the storytelling here. I really like the fact that he's gone through that shield there with his claw. You can see. I like that. That's cool. I love models that tell a story. Epic stuff, man. Love it. Absolutely. I would thin down my paints a little bit more. I think we're getting a bit too heavy on the paint side. But as a model that tells a story and is actually showing off what you want the model to do, and the paint job is very good. Less is more, though. Less is more. I like him, though. Extremely cool model. Alright, this one is from Sam Bentley. Sam Bentley. What? Dude, this is going to be one of them models that I'm really jealous of and annoyed by. It is, isn't it? Oh, mate, look at this. Look at that. That's amazing. That's not fair. Could have zoomed in on that. Look at this dude. The autumnal. Look at that base. Look how autumnal that is. That's the combination of colours is beautiful. Really well done. I love the rusted armour on the dragon, dude. Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. The vampire himself, absolutely. Really good stuff, man. And I love your... Are these natural branches? Like actual real branches that you've got on there? That's so good it's depressing. Let me know if they're natural branches on there. Model of the day so far. Definitely. Okay, we have Jack. A rather large dreadnought. He's a chunky boy, isn't he? He is. Again, an autumnal base. So we're developing a theme here. Or are those flames, not leaves? They look like flames more than anything else. Ink is your friend. Ink is your friend when it comes to iron. Anything silvery or iron needs no oil on it. Warp it down. Make sure we can see those recesses. Because with that done, if you put that ink on this model, on all the silver parts, especially on the front, the guns, the claws, right? This model's a 10 out of 10. Lamenter's model, 10 out of 10. Astounding work, mate. Brilliant. Well, really well done. Again, telling a story with the fallen blood angel down there. Did he kill him? I don't know. Like, you know, we don't know. Right, Matt R. Matt Rose. Just coming at us with a few really cool models. A mortar team. We've seen, again, these leaves are on this model as well. Do you guys shop at the same store? Love the fatigues. Absolutely brilliant. Now this is the dude here. This is the dude. Do I have a new favourite model of the day? Because this is... The pose is just perfect. That pose, man. There are different ways to do a character standing in repose. Like standing in a way that's straight up and down, right? There are different ways to do it. The Watchmaster of the Death Watch is a bad way to do it. He's just standing there. Yes, I know, he's meant to be watching for things, but he just looks like he's bored, right? That's not a model you'd send into combat. This guy looks like a tired veteran who's still ready to fight. Weapon in both hands, staring down the enemy. This is how you do a non-action pose. Our first tank of the day. Well, our first serious tank of the day. We've had a few dreadnoughts. Very nice. Very nicely done. Some Ogrins. Very good stuff. Big old brutes, aren't they? And finally, from this chap, some guardsmen. Excellent. Really like the colour scheme, man. I'm liking the colour scheme. Love it. And we are back to Raziel to round off today. At least in terms of what we're doing here. Very nicely done, man. Very nicely done. Again, focus. Put your models in focus. They deserve it. They're really good stuff. A duel scene. I want to see that from a different angle. That looks brilliant. And a bounty hunter of sorts. Phenomenal stuff, guys. Phenomenal stuff. A big round of applause to all of you who sent stuff in. If you sent it in a bit too late, then, well, I don't know what to say to you. I'll do it next week. Where's my favourite model of the day? It's either the Commissar or I'm gonna give it to this dude. I've got to give it to this dude. Look at this. Look at this. Whoever's model is this, you've earned yourself another box of Yorkshire tea. So email me. Email me. Absolutely great stuff. I want to keep that on the screen for a bit. I like it that much. German Fleckton, late war. Okay, cool. Right, so a few things I wanted to do before we end up today's stream is I was going to show you what I've been working on in terms of lore and things like that, in terms of like some projects for the channel going forward. So give me 1 sec and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I am back. Righty, so first and foremost, do you guys remember a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about a setting I was making? I think we were on. Here we are. Well, here it is. This is a setting that I am making right as of now. Like, we are literally making it right now. Let me just pull this down so it fits the screen. It is basically done. The setting is basically done. The game is basically finished. So, this is a game called Revenant. And it is a feudal punk setting. So, this is essentially a setting where we've had a vast galaxy-spanning empire from Earth. It has fallen, and essentially what we have here is advanced feudal Kenshi. If you've ever seen the game Kenshi, it's very similar to that. Very, very, very similar to that. And the game is complete. It is done. There is nothing really else to do to it. I will be releasing it probably on Amazon Books, to buy, so you can actually buy it and do what you want to do with it. I will be giving a discount code to Patreons and members of the channel too, but I'm not sure when it's coming out. Probably towards the end of summer/autumn time. So, first of all, I'm going to give you a rundown of what Feudal Punk is, and that is the setting that we're in. Alright? So, Feudal Punk is the idea of taking fantasy and medieval trappings and stretching them across a world that could quite easily remind you of a more brutal science fiction setting. Whilst you will encounter a broken, advanced civilization across the Crimson World, you will also encounter knights, kings, and lords, all seeking to make their fortune in the wider world. As electronic technology has been forcibly stripped from us, first from the Cold Ones, more on them later, and secondly from the Starborn Church, that sees all advanced technology as inherently sinful, humanity has regressed to a barbaric state. There is a good reason for this. Technology brings the apocalypse, without fail. Empires have been shattered for flying too close to the sun, for beneath the soil of the Crimson World, the Cold Ones stir, always baying to devour any who seek to advance too far. This hard lock on progress has seen humanity understandably fall back into governments and systems of rule and worship that have allowed it to survive in such a savage world. Namely, they have reforged and established an extremely feudal society. This has become more ingrained and entrenched as time has worn on. Religious dogma has seen mankind through some extreme hardships upon the Crimson World, and so it too has bled into this neo-feudal society of knights and landed warrior aristocracies. This is Feudal Punk, the trappings of a fantastical medieval setting, wearing the skin of a more advanced age that has long disappeared from the world. Right. And in terms of what inspired the game, Dune, Kenshi, Dark Sun, Berserk, and Warhammer 40,000. All of them have gone into playing into this role-playing game, this Feudal Punk tabletop role-playing game. Now, there is lore here. We do have lore down the side but what I wanted to do is do a brief lore dump. So it's quite extensive. Like, we don't just cover nothing. Like, it is quite extensive. We go into quite a lot of detail. But the rules are actually out the box, and I'm very, very, very proud of them. The rules work. I've tested them, and we actually have very complex ways of advancing your character and doing very, very special things to your character as they progress through the world, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you guys in the game, you play as Ghost Glaives, which are essentially knights who have installed shards. If you look at Cyberpunk 2077, Johnny Silverhand is on a shard that you put in your head. Well, imagine there's millions of him on that shard, and they're all really advanced humans from the past. Well, that's what you've done. You've installed those shards in one of those shards in your head, and that's called a ghost, and you've become a Ghost Glaive. There is a warrior who's able to use the abilities that are on that shard, and they slowly unlock as you get more and more powerful during the game. You know, essentially what Revenant is a big excuse of why do heroes in RPGs get more powerful when other people don't. Well, in Revenant, there's a good reason for that. You're a Ghost Glaive, and they're not, right? Imagine Caliban from Warhammer 40,000. Make it more like Mad Max, and make it more feudal, and you basically got what Revenant is. You know, there are guns, there's all sorts of things going on, all that stuff is there. The game is pretty much finished. I'm putting the finishing touches to it as we go through. So yeah, look out for it on Amazon pretty soon. It'll be on there eventually when I get around to pulling my finger out. But it's done. We're currently sitting at around 23,000 words. It'll be around 30,000 words by the time we're finished. And that's that. That is Revenant. So, just wanted to go over that because, you know, it's something that I've wanted to talk about for a while. And I did speak about it last time. There is a world map, which I will show you now. Now, it's not done, obviously. This is just a mock-up of what the world's going to look like for me. that I've used to show to people when they're like, whoa, how would that work? Well, here we are. This is essentially the world map. And so the world, you may remember, is Mars. But Mars with water on it. So it's a partially terraformed Mars is where we are. And you have the big empires there and the two massive continents of Tharsis and Noctis there. If you look on Mars now, if you added water, this is what it would look like. So that's the setting that we're on. And yeah, that's where we are. That's what it's going to be like when it's finished. We're going to have a proper world map, and you'll get to do all of your role-playing in this fallen sci-fi setting, like it's Kenshi or something like that, walking around. It's going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yeah. Put that off for now. That's where we are with that one. In terms of the channel, though, there's something else pretty big coming on the channel. And that is, I will show you now. That is this. So, I know, an actual world map. And yes, I am aware it looks like a vagina. I would love to say that was on purpose. But I was sitting here, and my missus walked in behind me. She said, "That's really cool." I was like, "Oh yeah, thanks." And she says, she just started giggling. And I was like, "What?" She goes, "I don't want to say, because I might ruin it for you." I said, "No, go on. I've got to know." She said, "It looks like a vagina." And I just turned my head and went, "Holy shit." Oh, I know. But anyway, this is a setting called Caliban, named after not the world in 40k, but the actual character in a Shakespeare play, Macbeth, back in the day. Anyway, it's not finished, as you can see, but this is the world on which I want a lot of you to be playing on when you play RPGs on the channel, because this will become a thing. We're literally going to turn this into an actual thing. Because there is an island down here called the Isle of Exiles, as you can see there. You guys, eventually, what I want to do is have a big macro game on the channel where you guys form petty kingdoms and dukedoms and all sorts of things on this island, and we roleplay out what happens on the island, like, you know, who ends up ruling it, where they come from, where the countries are, you know, that kind of a thing. And do they go out and do they unify and go out and try and conquer anywhere else? That'd be pretty cool. That's something we're going to do on the channel going forwards, which I can't wait. I can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, that's where we are with that. And this is going to be a setting called Oathsworn. So it's a very dark, medieval fantasy setting. Even magic's corrupted here. Everything's fucked up, you know. You have the Dominion in the centre there, which is like a dark version of Victorian England, and they'll be ranging out into the Black Glass Sea to kill Leviathans and take their blood and their oil and use them in their own technologies, whereas the kingdoms around them are all heavily medieval, you know, so they're not as advanced as the Dominion at all. But they've all grown up from other places and things like that. In this world, the further north you go, the hotter it is. The further south you go, the colder it is, as you can see. And each of these kingdoms and places will have bits of lore attached to them. And, you know, you'll be able to dictate where your character comes from, things like that. And we will be running this macro RPG on the server. So, it's going to be cool. We're going to have a lot of fun. Not going to be for a long time. Probably Christmas this year. But I thought I wanted to give you a preview of what's coming on the channel as we move forwards. That'll be coming later on this year. Later on this year. That's what we're doing on the channel anyway, moving forwards. Exciting stuff. Surely you'll agree. Yin Yang is kind of what I was going for, I'm not going to lie. Do you plan on expansions for Revenant? Yes, in future. In future, yes. Yeah. So there's lots of different races on Revenant. One of the main ones is the Crate, who are essentially, imagine the Dark Elves from Elder Scrolls, but give them 4 eyes, and make them more insectoid, and make them samurai. You know, there are nations like that on it, so it's pretty much like where we are there. What if you don't have a lot of friends to play with? You don't need them, man. You don't need them, Luca, because it's going to be a social thing. So you go onto the server and you log in and you say, right, you search around for what alliances there are, what kingdoms there are, and you just join that kingdom and you say, right, what are we doing? Where are we going? You know, what's happening? You vote on certain things, you can do certain things, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. And we can even do, my whole plan was to do role-playing campaigns that are going on across the world, right? A few of them will be going on the channel, run by our members and our GMs that we've interviewed, right? And so you can play in those. And all of those will be reported to me and added to the world's mythos as we go along. Well, the island of exiles, the mythos of that island, it'll be added to it as we go on. We'll have people role-playing as kings and queens and all sorts going on. It's going to be fucking awesome. And it'll be towards the end of the year when that's a thing that happens. When's the next chill out? Every Sunday. Every Sunday there's a chill out. We chill out for a bit. On that note, I am going to go because I'm going to have my dinner. But I love you all a long time. And I'll speak to you tomorrow. Hobby Nightmare should be a doozy tomorrow. Should be a really, really good one. It is about... What is it about, actually? Before I go anywhere. What are we doing? 40k bro tested by Girl Gamer at Grand Tournament. Oh yes, it's going to be one of those videos where we see one of our community desperately trying to hold us cool whilst the woman is flashing her boobs across the table. But we'll see that tomorrow, and then on Tuesday there will be a 40k rant on what we discussed earlier about that the Games Workshop news about them suing their own fan base. So I'll speak to you then. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright? Have a good one. Bye now.